Welcome to LifeLine. We aim to offer support to medical and healthcare students. This is Jay.
And Ilya.
What can we help you with today?
Hiya, I saw the optometrist today and they talked me through my eye problem. It was really a lot to take in, to be honest, and I could not quite understand it. I just want to see if you can maybe help me with this, if that's okay.
No worries. Let's start from the basics. So the first thing that you need to know is eye anatomy. There are a few structures that you have to learn. We will go from the outer to inner order so it's easier for you to remember. First, we have the conjunctiva, the thin, transparent membrane that covers the front of the eye and inside of the eyelid for protection and lubrication. Sclera, the tough white outer layer that protects and gives shape to the eyeball. Cornea, the clear front layer of the eye that helps to focus incoming light. Aqueous humor, the clear fluid between the cornea and the lens that maintain pressure and nourishes the cornea and lens. Iris, the colored part of the eye that controls the size of the pupil. And pupil, the central opening in the iris that regulates how much light enters the eye. Ciliary body and suspensory ligament. They adjust the shape of the lens to focus on near or distant objects, which is called accommodation. And we have lenses, which focuses light rays onto the retina. Vitreous humor, the jelly-like substance filling the space between the lens and the retina, maintaining eye shape. Choroid, the vascular layer that supplies blood and nutrients to the retina. And of course, the retina, the light-sensitive interlayer that contains rods for dim light and night vision, and cones for color vision and fine details.
And then we have the macula and fovea. They are the central part of the retina and are responsible for sharper vision. The optic discs, which are also called the blind spot, is where the optic nerve exits, as it has no photoreceptors.
What does optic nerve do?
Good question. Optic nerve carries signal from the retina to the brain and is deeply correlated to how we process image, which leads us to the second core idea that you have to know. During the process, light reflects off objects and enter the eye through the cornea, which bends the light to focus. The iris controls the size of the pupil depending on the brightness, ensure that right amount of light enters and the light passes through the lenses, which changes shape via ciliary muscles and suspensory ligament, and these focus light onto the retina.
Light hits the retina, and the rods and cone photoreceptors convert the light into electrical signals.
Electrical signals travel through the optic nerve to the visual cortex in the brain, which they're interpreted so we perceive the image the right way up.
Okay, let's quiz your knowledge. What two parts of the eye control the shape of the lens?
Ciliary muscle and suspensory ligament.
Great job. What does the retina do and what does it contain?
Light sensitive layer with rods for night vision and cones for colours and details.
Fantastic. What is the definition for accommodation?
Lens changing shape to adjust for near and far objects when focusing light.
Now, if you're looking in dim light, would your pupils dilate or constrict? Also, mention what controls the size of the pupil.
Dilate and it is iris.
True or false? The retina flips the image the correct way.
It is false because it is the brain that does that.
Now, what's the direction of light, starting at the cornea?
Is it it goes to the iris and pupil in the cornea, and then where else? I don't know.
Not quite. The direction of light goes from the cornea to the iris, the pupil, the lens, and then the retina, optic nerve, and finally the brain.
Oh, Okay, I finally understand how it works. So, what do the eye tests actually do?
There are three main pre-screening tests: autorefraction, digital retinal photography, also known as DRP, and tonometry. In autorefraction, we measure how the eye focuses on both near and distant objects to estimate prescription to give the optometrist a starting point for correcting your vision. Then in digital retina photography, the optometrist will capture a photo of the retina, optic nerve and blood vessel to help detect eye disease early and track changes over time. And tonometry is where they measure eye pressure by blowing air on the cornea and detecting how much the cornea flattens in response, with a high intraocular pressure indicating glaucoma.
And then we have three common eye tests: Snellen chart, Dwelcom test, and retinoscopy.
Snellen chart is the standard chart with letters of decreasing size, which are used to measure visual accuracy.
Well, usually it is expressed as a fraction from 6/60 to 6/6.
That is the way it works in the UK. In the USA, 6/6 is also called 20/20, which is where we get 20/20 vision from. Now, duochrome tests use a red and green background to help determine whether the eye is long-sighted or short-sighted based on what colour is clearer. Red light focuses slightly behind the retina, which may indicate that if a person finds red to be clearer, they might be long-sighted. Whereas green light focuses in front of the retina, and it might indicate that the person is short-sighted if they find green to be more clear.
Retinoscopy uses a light shown into the eye to observe reflection of the retina to help determine how the eye focuses light.
It is actually used with service users who cannot read a chart, like children for example.
Let's talk about eye health tests now. There are four in total.
Slit lamp, ophthalmoscope, optical coherence tomography, also known as OCT, and visual field tests. A slit lamp is a powerful microscope that uses a slit of light to examine the cornea, iris and lens for scratches, inflammation and infections. An ophthalmoscope is a handheld light used to examine the retina, optical nerve and blood vessels to identify retinal diseases. Optical coherence tomography, also known as OCT, produces 3D scans of the retina and optic nerve, using light waves to measure tissue layers, which enables early detections.
Visual field test assesses your central and peripheral vision by detecting blind spot as you press button when you see the flashes of light. Quiz time. So this is a photo of a hot air balloon and a road. What type of pre-screening test is this?
Optorefraction.
So what is the new version of the Snellen chart and makes it different?
Logma has equal number of letters per line and each letter has a difficulty score.
Brilliant. Why does the green light being clearer indicate that the person is short-sighted?
Green light focuses slightly in front of the retina, so it means that the person is short-sighted.
There are two eye health tests involving light. Describe what both of them are used for.
Slit lamp is for the front of the eye to see scratches, inflammation and infection, and ophthalmoscope to see the back of the eye for retina, optic nerve and blood vessels.
Great, so let's talk about how you should read your prescription. From left to right, you will see SPH, then CYL, then axis, then prism, then base.
SPH, short form for sphere, shows the lens power in diopter unit. If the number is positive, it means that the person is long-sighted, and contrastingly, if the number is negative, it means that the person is short-sighted. CYL cylinder is the lens power needed to correct astigmatism. High number means less spherical. Axis is the degree and direction the lab must position the CYL power. Prism is used to correct your eyes that do not work well as a pair, and base is the direction of where the lab will put the prism in your glasses.
How did they make my glasses?
So they take measurements, create the frame, make the lenses according to the prescription, and do adjustments if needed afterwards. There are 4 measurements that they take.
PD, pupil distance, fitting height or segment height for reading or multifocal glasses. Bridge fit, how the frame rests on your nose. Temple length, which is how the arms reach behind your ears.
We'll now talk about the process to creating frames and lenses.
Firstly, acetate sheets are cut into frame shape using precision machines. Holes are made for hinges, which are then attached securely with metal rivets. Then the cut frame is heated and curved to fit comfortably on face, then cooled to hold a shape. Frames are polished in tumbling barrels or by hand for a smooth shine. The temples are shaped and curved to fit behind the ears. The logos or branding are printed on with a silicone pad, which is called pad printing. Finally, the temples are then screwed onto the frame front to complete assembly. As for lenses, computer-controlled grinding machine cut the back surface of the plastic lens to match the exact prescription. Then the rough lens surface is polished to optical clarity. Multifocal lenses may be engraved with tiny alignment marks. Lens has to be thoroughly cleaned to eliminate residue and particles. It can be dyed for color or treated with coatings like anti-reflections, UV protection, or scratch resistant. Quality control is needed. Frame is gently heated so the lenses can slide into place smoothly, and the optician ensures lenses are perfectly aligned with our eyes.
Sometimes adjustment is needed as well, and this can be made using gentle heat and pliers.
Temples may be shortened, reshaped, or bent for proper ear placement, and temple hinges may be stiffened or loosened to control tension and prevent sleeping. Nose pads for metal or hybrid frames are bent for optimal bridge fit. Minor frame bending or curving ensures that the frame sits correctly on the face.
Okay, so contacts. They are worn on the surface of the eye, floating on a thin film on the cornea. There are lots of common types. Daily disposables, weekly, twice monthly, monthly, UV protection, coloured contacts, toric contacts which are used for people with astigmatism, and bi or multifocal contact lenses.
Contact lenses are quite controversial, as some people find it convenient when others don't. There are some pros and cons that you have to know. For contact lens, advantage includes that it has no reflections, no weight, and no flagging up, as well as eliminating the need of prescription of sunglasses.
However, it is flimsy, which means it can be lost easily. It also needs proper care and cleansing, which can be troublesome for a lot of people.
I just think that the idea of putting something into my eyes is really scary.
Yeah. It's also important for you to know what you should do when you're putting in, taking out, or cleaning your contact lenses.
Before you put your lenses, you have to wash and dry hands first. So, firstly, place lens on the tip of your index finger, ensuring that it is the right way round, and pull the top eyelid up and the bottom eyelid down. Bring the lens towards the center of your eye, looking forward. After insertion, move from side to side to remove air bubbles and ensure comfortable fit. Same goes for taking out the lenses. You have to wash and dry hands first. Look straight into the mirror and tilt your head down. Then pull your bottom eyelid down and move the lens down the white of your eye and pinch it out.
As for cleaning, you also have to wash and dry your hands first. It's a basic hygienic method that you'll need a lot, especially if you're going to work in the healthcare field. Rub the contact lenses with the contact solution and place them in the case, ensuring that there's fresh solution in, making sure they're in the correct spots, and you're done.
How about eye problems?
Why not? There are 3 common types of refractive error: myopia, hyperopia, and presbyopia.
Myopia is a medical term for short-sightedness, where people have the difficulty seeing further objects as the eyeball may be too long or the cornea is curved, which causes the light to focus in front of the retina. This can be fixed with a concave lens, which diverges light to ensure that it focuses on the retina. Hyperopia means long-sightedness, where people have the difficulty seeing closer objects as the eyeball may be too short or the cornea is too flat. Therefore, light tends to focus behind the retina. We can use convex lenses to converge light rays to properly focus on the retina. Presbyopia is age-related long-sightedness, which normally starts at the age 40. The lens over time loses flexibility with age, and ciliary muscles weaken so the eye cannot accommodate for close vision.
Things like reading glasses, multifocal lens can help.
Another example of a refractive error is astigmatism.
This is caused by irregularly shaped lens or cornea that cause light to focus on 2 points instead of 1.
Symptoms include things like halos around lights, streaks around lights, blurred vision, headaches, eye strain, squinting, fatigue, and difficulty seeing at night. It is usually diagnosed by a stigmatic dial test, which uses a half dial chart or a full dial chart, with the line degrees being from 0 to 180 if half dial and 0 to 360 degrees if full dial. If astigmatism is present, lines may appear darker or clearer than others, with the clearest line indicating the axis of astigmatism. They will then adjust the lenses until all lines look equally clear. This will help determine the presence, axis and degree of astigmatism by doing this test. There are 4 types of treatment available, including sphere and axis prescription glasses, toric contacts, laser eye surgery, and clear lens extraction.
Then with color blindness, as you probably have known already, it is the inability to distinguish certain colors like red, yellow, and green.
Is this due to a malfunctioning cone photoreceptor?
Excellent, you're absolutely correct. There are mainly 4 types of color blindness.
Trot anomaly, which is reduced sensitivity to red light, Drutra anomaly, which is reduced sensitivity to green light, Triton anomaly is reduced sensitivity to yellow and blue light, and monochromacy, which is where the person has no colour vision. Colour blindness can be diagnosed with 2 different tests. The Ishihara test, which sounds complicated, but it's simply just reading numbers in an image made of coloured dots. Or they may ask the person to do a colour arrangement test, where they will ask them to arrange objects in order of shades and colours. Unfortunately, colour blindness has no cure, but people with this disease can be assisted with tools on their phone settings, for example colour filters, to increase the contrast between colours.
Colorblind glasses can also help. Special tinted lenses can filter certain wavelengths of light to enhance the contrast between colors that are hard to tell apart, for example like red and green.
Then we have cataracts. Is when the lens of the eye becomes cloudy, which reduces transparency. This can cause nuclear, cortical or posterior cataracts. Symptoms include blurred vision, faded colours, difficulty seeing in dim light, glare sensitivity, and double vision.
Someone can be diagnosed through doing the visual acuity test, and we can also use the slit lamp to observe clouding on lens.
There's a variety of treatments available. It can be improved by stronger glasses and brighter light for the early stages, but surgery is needed for the more advanced stages. An example of a surgery is phacoemulsification, which is a small incision with the lens broken down by ultrasound and removed, being replaced with an artificial lens. We also have extracapular cataract extraction, which is a larger incision, but still removes the lens and replaces it with an artificial lens. And then there's glaucoma.
This is a group of eye disease where increased intraocular pressure from fluid buildup damages the optic nerve, potentially causing irreversible vision loss if untreated.
Symptoms include blurred and distorted vision, halos around lights, headache, light sensitivity, and there are mainly 5 types: chronic, which is gradual, acute, which is sudden, traumatic, caused by an injury, congenital, and developmental. It can be diagnosed using tonometry, visual field tests, or digital retinal photography. Treatment includes eye drops to lower the intraocular pressure, selective laser surgery to increase fluid outflow, and indronometry to rapidly lower intraocular pressure. Now let's talk about diabetic retinopathy. It is a complication of diabetes that damages your retina as your blood vessels become blocked or start leaking. The symptoms include blurred or distorted vision, impaired colour vision, difficulty seeing at night, and scotomas, also known as blind spots.
The stages include background retinopathy, preproliferative retinopathy, proliferative retinopathy, and diabetic maculopathy. And there are different ways which you can diagnose this: tonometry, visual field tests, visual acuity testing, digital retinal photography, OCT, diabetic eye screening.
There are multiple different types of treatment, most including laser eye surgeries. Example of a laser therapy is photocoagulation, where they will seal the leaking blood vessels. They might use anti-VEGF injections to reduce swelling and leaking in the macula, or vitrectomy surgery. Then we have amblyopia, which includes the presence of a lazy eye, where vision hasn't fully developed, so the brain-eye connections fail due to unequal vision or misaligned eye muscles, also known as strabismus.
Symptoms include rendering eyes, poor depth perception, squinting, tilting head.
It can be diagnosed through visual acuity tests, cover tests to see if one eye drifts, and refraction tests. Treatment includes glasses for unequal vision, and eye patching the stronger eye to train the lazy eye.
Okay, so now it's your turn. We have a little quiz here for you. Try to answer it. So, number 1, what 2 common refractive errors can be treated with a convex lens?
Hyperopia and what?
The answer is presbyopia and hyperopia. It's okay to get it wrong. This question is designed to be slightly extended. I'll give you an easier one. So, divine astigmatism.
I'm sure that it is a refractive error and it makes the light focus on 2 points.
Excellent. And it is caused by irregularly shaped cornea.
Now, how would an optometrist diagnose colour blindness? There are 2 tests.
Ishihara tests and color arranging tests.
Correct. Now, how would you treat cataracts in later stages?
That word is really hard to pronounce. The phacoemulsification and extracapsular cataract extraction.
Good job. Now define glaucoma, and what is the pre-screening test used to diagnose it?
Fluid buildup and increase intraocular pressure and damages the optic nerve.
Be confident about your answer, you're right. Let's wrap it up with a simple question. Why is eye patching used for people who have lazy eyes?
I know this one. It is in order to train the lazy eye.
Brilliant. You're now graduated from the LifeLine.
Guys, thank you so much. Now I know what's happening.
Bye. Good luck with your new glasses.
So that's all for today on LifeLine. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.